Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. I think I've sorted the issues. I was having major issues with YouTube there trying to start the live stream. So hopefully you can hear me and see me. Do let me know if you have any issues. I think we are all good to go. Slightly different time for a live stream, slightly different day for a live stream, but I'm glad to see there are still a few of the regulars still here with me as always. So do say hello in the chat. As always, say hello to you before we get on to answering your FPL questions and discussing Game Week 29. I am thinking about taking another big hit. We might as well name me FPL hit at this rate, but I am considering taking one final big hit, and it'll probably be my final big hit of the season, but I will explain why a bit later. So good to see Cheekster in the chat, always first in the comments as well. Nice to see you, mate. We've got a new member already, Anzelina. Thank you very much for, I hope I pronounced your name correctly there. Welcome to the Raptier family. Good evening, Phil. Good evening, Cornelia. Good evening, Steve. Good to see you, mate. Zodiac's in the chat. FPL Eric. FPL Texan, good to see you, Charlie, mate. Good afternoon from Norway. Good afternoon. Is it good afternoon or good evening? It's a good question, actually. Is 5:30 evening or afternoon? We sort of need a word for both of them. Evening? Does that work? Can we get a quick guess? Will Raptor be wearing jacket or t-shirt today? I'm wearing a jacket. I'll probably strip off in a bit, though, because I'm feeling quite hot already. So it'll probably be jacket and t-shirt. So everyone that guessed will get that correct. Good evening, fellow FPL managers. I come with you salutations at 1:30 a.m. Sucks to be you at 1:30. Good evening, Raptor. Can we please get some Rafinha captain points, please? I hope so, Dave. Really, I do, because it was between like Coutinho, James, and Rafinha, and we went Rafinha, and it probably ended up being the wrong captaincy choice. Loads of people in the chat. Frosty in the chat. Johnny in the chat. Good evening, lads. Aditya in the chat. Good evening, mate. Indian football coach in the chat. Good evening, my man. What -16 is Raptor eyeing up this week? It's not -16, it's a -12 this week, so it's not quite as bad. Anyone going for a -12 hit like me? I am, Rio. I'm with you. We're going to talk about my -12 in a bit. Steve says hit should now be known as doing a Raptor, for sure. It is getting quite bad. I've taken a -20, a -8, and a -12 in the last 4 weeks, so... Loads of members in the chat. Good to see you, all the members. Andre, it's evening. Good evening. Good. I'd say it's evening as well. Yeah, pre-evening. I like that, James. Pre-evening works. FF Scopes in the chat. Defo evening. Good evening to you, mate. Stephen, Polkit, Chris. Loves that jacket. I do love this jacket, to be fair. It's a nice sort of... It's not too thick, not too thin. Keeps me warm, but not too much. Hello from South Africa. Hello from Athens. Love all this. Right. Let's get into it then. So only streaming for an hour and a half. I say only an hour and a half. That's quite long for some people, but it won't be like a 2-hour stream. So I plan on going till about 7 p.m. So the plan is for the first hour or so, we're going to talk about FPL. I'm going to show you my team. We're going to answer some questions. We're going to focus on Game Week 29. And then at about 6:30, the team sheet is going to start flying in for the sort of second half of Game Week 28. So we'll probably start to turn our attention to the football tonight around 6:30. So that's sort of what the general plan is for the flow of this. If you're watching this as a video after on Friday, then I'll put some timestamps below and you'll be able to use those. Before we move on to discussing my team and FPL Game Week 29, I do just want to give out a shout out to the sponsor of these live streams. That is SPITCH. Now, this isn't just a regular sponsor. SPITCH are actually doing some insane competitions through Game Week 29, Game Week 30, and Game Week 31 as well. So as you can see on your screen, free entry to this competition. So if you use the link down below, it's a free entry. For Game Week 29, they have first place an Apple Watch Series 1 7 GPS. They have AirPods Pro for second, Beats Solo for third. And then across the next 3 game weeks, if you come top, you get 3,000 euros, 2,000 euros for second place, 1,500 euros for third place. Essentially, what you need to do to enter this competition for free is just download SPITCH, click the link in the description. And once you've downloaded SPITCH, you just have to enter a team for the next 3 weeks. It's like basically like a free hit every week. So it's just for Game Week 29, you enter a team. Then there'll be another competition in Game Week 30 and then another competition in Game Week 31. As you can see, basically, it's a bit more advanced in FPL. So you don't just get points for assists. You don't just get points for goals and clean sheets. You get points for like key passes, interceptions. So someone like a Ward-Prowse or a Coutinho or like a Jorginho is a good example, is actually very, very good in SPITCH. So It is Be Gamble aware because you can enter paid competitions, but to be honest, I've just been entering the free competitions, and because there are such good prizes on offer, just download it. You don't have to pay, just enter the free competition, and you could potentially get some really good prizes. So it is only for UK and Germany, as Zodiac just said in the chat. It is unfortunately only UK and Germany at the moment. So if you're in the UK and Germany, definitely download it, completely free. Even if you're not that sure, it obviously helps to support the channel, more likely to get sponsorships in the future. So if you want to support me and you want to get potentially some really cool prizes, either cash or, like I said, like Apple AirPods, Apple Watch and Beats, definitely click the link in the description, download SPITCH. You can see the team that I'm entering on your screen now. I'm going for basically quite heavy in the Chelsea backline. I'm probably going to go for a Wolves defender as well. And I'll probably end up going for Salah and Diaz up top, because Diaz has been very, very good in SPITCH. So, as I said, please click the link in the description. Big shout out to SPITCH for sponsoring the videos. Without further ado, let's take a quick look at what my team currently looks like it's going to be set up for Game Week 29. So I'm going to skip to my team now. I haven't made any transfers at the moment, but I am almost definitely taking a -12. Now, before you switch off and think I'm very strange for taking a big hit, it is planned. And with this hit, I get potentially 6 extra fixtures in the next few weeks. So I still think at this moment in time, this is probably the final week where it makes sense to take a big hit. I think after this week, it probably just makes sense to stop taking the hits, because you're unlikely to be stacking up all those extra fixtures. The great thing about 26, 28, 29, and 30 is that with 26, 28, and 29, they were all double game weeks, and some teams doubled twice. And then in game week 30, a lot of the teams that doubled played in 30 as well. That's why I thought it was such a good time of the season to take hits, because you're getting all those extra fixtures by taking hits. After game week 30, yes, there are going to be double game weeks, but it's going to be very difficult to take a hit to get a player in for lots of extra fixtures. So for me, this is almost like one last hurrah with the hits. This will be my final big hit of the season. I highly doubt I'll take anything more than a -4 after this, maybe the odd -8, but I will probably stop here. And so I think I'm just going to go for it. The planned transfers are, I've got James to Doherty. That could be James to Reguilon. We probably will discuss today Reguilon versus Doherty. So James to basically a Tottenham defender. I've then got Coutinho to Gordon. Now, I do think Coutinho is a good option, but this is just to fund the other moves. So Coutinho to Gordon, Bowen to Kulusevski, and then Jimenez to Kane. So I'm taking out 4 single game week players. I'm bringing in 4 double game week players. All 3 of the Tottenham players also play in blank game week 30. And then Gordon is likely to not only have a double in game week 29, but he's likely to also have a double in game week 31 or 32. So this -12 will serve me, like I said, potentially 6 extra fixtures I could be getting. I don't really want to take out Coutinho, and I would have kept James, but James is injured. Jimenez just hasn't looked great. We'll see how he does tonight if he starts. Coutinho's fine. I don't really like the game week 30 fixture, and Coutinho's long-term fixtures are actually pretty tough. So I don't really want to hold on to Villa for much longer. And then Bowen is currently injured. Yes, he might be available for 30, but I think this is probably a good time to maybe move him on. So that's the current -12. What it will give me is it will give me 10 double game week players for game week 29, except for Rafinha. So I'm going to have 10 double game weeks plus a single game week Rafinha. I do have double Wolves on the bench. The option is that I don't do the final Bowen to Kulusevski move, so I just do the others, Doherty, Gordon, and Kane, and I play Seiss instead of Bowen if he's not fit for game week 29, which looks like he won't be. But I think Kulusevski will outscore Seiss by more than 4 points. So let me know what you think in the chat of that -12. Let me know in the chat if you're taking a big hit as well. I'm pretty happy with it for now, and we'll see how it goes, I suppose. By the way, if you are in the stream right now and you are enjoying the content here on this channel, please make sure to drop a like on the stream. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well, and also get involved in the chat. If you're just sitting there and not getting involved in the chat, ask your question in the chat, and there's a good chance that I'll get around to answering it, because we probably won't have many viewers tonight. All right. There is a super chat from Arvin. Thank you for the super chat, my man. It says James and Jimenez to Robbo, Tony, or James to Doherty. Good question. So James and Jimenez to Robbo and Tony, or James to Doherty. I do really like the James to Robertson move, but I'm not sure about the Jimenez to Tony move, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, he does have the fixture in blank game week 30, of course. I'd probably just do the James to Doherty and hope that Jimenez plays and does fairly well against a shaky Everton team, Arvind. So I'd probably just do the James Doherty, but I do like Robertson. The other reason is obviously Robertson doesn't play in blank game week 30, so at least with the James to Doherty, if Doherty does play, you're likely to get a player in blank game week 30 as well. Right, so let's answer some of your questions in the chat whilst you all judge my -12 and look at my team for this week. Hi Raptor, have you tried playing UCL Fantasy? I have. I just kept on forgetting about the deadlines. It requires quite a lot of thought process and creating content alongside a lot of the other stuff that I do, lecturing, PhD, gym, fitness, whatever it may be. I just don't have the time and energy to play any more fancy games. I have been playing SPITCH, obviously due to the sponsorship, but also due to the fact I just sort of chuck a team together and see how it does, because it's like a 1 week free hit sort of thing. If it doesn't do well, I just enter another competition next week. Whereas UCL just feels like a bit too much of a stressor for me. But I know a lot of people do it. If you do enjoy UCL Fantasy, we have a channel on our Discord for UCL Fantasy. So if you want to join our Discord, the link will be in the description. You can do that. If only Reece James was on today, my rank would have been flying, but not mad. He blanks tonight. Yeah, it's not great, but I mean, we got 18 points from him, right, in the first fixture of game week 28. So it does suck, especially if you captained him, but I still think you've got to be happy with how he performed. Luca Dean is not sick now, but we don't know if he'll play. Yeah, we're going to see the lineups on today's stream. We're going to see if Luca Dean's playing. I think he will personally. If he's fit, he's going to start, and he looks like he'll be fine. We just don't know if there's any long-term effects of COVID. But as far as we know, Luca Dean is now training. Luca Dean is fit, and we should see him involved in the game in some regard tonight. So I don't think you're likely to get any bench points if Luca Dean doesn't play. From your bench, I don't think Luca Dean will miss out altogether, personally. Natasha's in the chat. She said, I made it. Good to see you in the chat, Natasha. Glad you finally made a live stream. Already on a -8. Would Ramsey to Martinelli be worth another hit? Potentially. I'd probably go for it. I'm feeling very sort of hit enthusiastic at the moment. The reason for that is just because, like I said, if you bring in an Arsenal or Tottenham player, they have a double game week 29 and a fixture in 30 and good fixtures in 31 and 32. And Arsenal might also double in 33. Tottenham could, but it's less likely. So you could be getting like an extra 3 or 4 fixtures from bringing these players in. We have got a super chat from Jonathan. Thank you very much, Jonathan. I appreciate the super chat. He says, loving your -12. Is this -12 likely to be worth it? James, King, Jimenez, Luca Dean out. Okay, so none of those are double game week players. James is injured. King might be injured. Jimenez isn't very good. To Davies, Kane, Richardson, and Matip. So Richardson's obviously the make weight. You get Kane, Davies, and Matip in. I don't mind that at all. I mean, I'm not 100% sure that Matip plays both games, and obviously Richardson isn't ideal. If you could get Doherty in for Davies instead of Davies, or if you could get Gelhardt in instead of Richardson, then I think that looks a lot better. Obviously, I'm assuming that's a real budget constraint. But if you can get Gelhardt instead of Richardson and or Doherty instead of Davies, I really like that -12, Jonathan. And I think you're going to pay that back almost immediately. So, yeah, I really like that. If Coutinho hauls tonight, will that change people's plans to get rid of him? No, probably not. Probably not, because I don't think the fixture's great in 29. I'm bringing in Kulusevski and Gordon, who both have double game weeks. And also, Coutinho's fixtures from 31 onwards are pretty shocking. And I don't particularly like the fixture in 30 against Arsenal. So I guess it might make me reconsider slightly. But the only way to get Kane in my team is to lose Coutinho. So I think I'm going to have to do it if I want Kane. And to me, getting Kane in is more important than losing Coutinho. So I think I'm still happy to lose Coutinho, even if he does well again tonight. Why are you doing Coutinho to Gordon? It's just to fund that Kane move. If I could get Kane, for example, like what I wanted to do was Doherty in for James, Gordon in for Bowen, and then Jimenez to Kane, but I can't afford that. So the Bowen to Kulusevski move is sort of that luxury extra -4. The other 3 moves have to be the ones if I want to get Kane in, and I do really want Kane in. Not just for this week, but I do think he's the best captaincy option in game week 30. And I think when you're bringing in someone to potentially captain in the next few weeks, it makes a lot of sense. And I just think Kane has the potential to absolutely ruin my rank as well if he does well. And I would back him. If you were asking me separate to FPL, do you expect Kane to do well over the coming game weeks? I absolutely do. And so, as a result, I think I just want to get him in before he keeps rising in price, before everyone else owns him. I think I'd rather have him now, personally. James up to Robertson or down to a Spurs defender. I think if you can afford Robertson, I'd probably go Robertson. I think Robertson's going to do very well in this game week. I think Brighton in particular is a great fixture from a defensive standpoint, and I think Arsenal's good as well. His underlying data is still very, very strong. I'm delighted that I've got Van Dijk. I think if you can get onto double Liverpool defence, I really like it. Of course, the thing with Doherty or Reguilon or Davies, whoever you go for, you do get that extra fixture in game week 30, though. So it depends how your team's looking for 30, I suppose. Who would you say are the best 3 strikers for game week 30? It's probably Kane, Lacazette, and then probably no one. Hwang, Watkins. You could have anyone as that sort of 3rd striker. Maybe like a Rodrigo or a Gelhardt if you think they're going to start. No one particularly. I'm pretty happy. I'll be having Kane, Lacazette. To be fair, actually, I might be doing King to Daka I think Daka could be potentially a decent shout for game week 30 if Vardy's out. And obviously, Iheanacho hasn't looked that fantastic this season. So I think those three could be decent as a front three. But to be honest, the strikers, whether it's game week 30 or not, the strikers are just pretty crap, aren't they, at the moment? I don't think we want any of them. Super chat from Boona. I love you. I love you too, Boona. Hopefully catch up with you soon. We'll definitely catch up with you at that training session for the North versus South match. But hopefully catch up with you soon for a drink at some point, my man. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. What to do with ESR and Bowen? Use my free transfer on Dennis to Kane. Can start Coutinho instead of one of them. I don't think ESR is an emergency transfer. I do think he'll start to see a little bit more minutes, but I do think Martinelli's first choice. Bowen's a tricky one because obviously he plays in blank game week 30. If he is fit for 30, he's got also decent fixtures in 31 and 32. I think it's like Brentford and Burnley or something like that for West Ham. So if you can hold on to Bowen, maybe do so. But obviously, I'm looking to sell Bowen as a result. So I think you could sell them. I think you could hang on to them. It really depends on what transfers you want to make. Are you planning on any Chelsea or Leicester players? Yeah, maybe game week 31 or 32. We're going to look at that in a bit, sort of planning ahead on FPL.team. I think maybe one Leicester player maybe in game week 30, Chris, and then maybe a Chelsea player in 31 or 32. But remember, if I just switch to... Is it that one? That graphic? Yeah. So my chip strategy is free hit 33, wildcard 34, bench boost 36. So for me, I only need to get through to game week 32. So I don't think I need to start loading up on Leicester players for their double in game week 33 because Leicester are very likely to have a double game week in 33. And Chelsea, I pretty much, because they don't play in blank game week 30, they've got a single fixture in 29. It's just 31 and 32 I have to get through. So maybe just Rudiger would be enough for me. So because of my chip strategy and because I've got my wildcard still in play and my free hit, it's not as much of a priority for me to focus on Chelsea and Leicester players. Felipe's got a super chat. Thank you very much, Felipe. He says, Alan to Kulusevski. Absolutely, yep. Cancelo to Doherty. Love that. And Son captain for game week 29. Thoughts? And who out for Hwang, Jimenez, Daka for game week 30? Who out of Hwang, Jimenez, Daka for game week 30? Love your work. Thank you very much, Felipe. Alan to Kulusevski and Cancelo to Doherty. Love that. Son captaincy could be a great shout. I've got like a suspicion, not enough for me to actually follow through with it. I've got a feeling that the Spurs boys could both outscore Salah. I actually really like the double game week for Spurs. I know it doesn't look that great on paper, but Brighton haven't been as fantastic recently. And Manchester United are just very shaky at the back. And we're just so error-prone that I could see us conceding a couple of goals there. So I do like Son and Kane captaincy. For me, the risk doesn't outweigh the reward. I think the risk is too high for me. Am I willing to watch my ranks do what happened in game week 9 when I captained Havertz over Salah? It's obviously not quite the same trust in like a Son or a Kane. But for me, I think I'm just going to stick on Salah personally. But I don't mind it. And then with respect to your other question, who out of Hwang, Jimenez and Daka for game week 30? I'd like Daka personally. I think Leicester look better than Wolves going forward. Daka looks fantastic as well when he plays. Jamie Vardy looks like he'll be out for game week 30. I just don't think Iheanacho has looked that great recently. So I think Daka should be nailed on for game week 30. So probably Daka at the moment. But let's see how Hwang/Jimenez look tonight. If they play, how do they look? Who starts? Who looks the better out of the two? And also then in game week 29 against Everton. It's a long way away. So I think we're fine for now. You don't need to make those transfers this week, of course. Hopefully that helps to answer your super chat. No way you're getting a good rank with a minus 40. I am getting a good rank with a minus 40. So let me go back. I took a minus 20. Do you know what? Let me see if I can get it up, actually. 2 seconds. I'll show you how it's gone so far. Sorry if you can hear the traffic outside, by the way. I live on like sort of like a bit of a main road and it's quite loud. Right. I want to go into points and I want to go into view game week history. I'm going to show you how it's been going. But quickly, let me answer this super chat from Chris. Chris is also a member, I believe. So thank you very much for the super chat, my man. Hey, mate. Love you too. I'm bringing in Kane, Kulusevski, Doherty for Jimenez, Son, and which defender? So Kane, Kulo, Doherty. Perfect. Jimenez, Son, which defender? Would you sell Luca Dean or Seiss? I already have Saar, but 3 Aston Villa. I'd definitely ship off Luca Dean, mate. I think Aston Villa's fixtures really turn for the worst. Let me just get up Aston Villa's fixtures to help answer a question in a little bit more detail. So Aston Villa's fixtures from 30 onwards is Wolves, Tottenham, Liverpool, Leicester. And even 29 and 30 is West Ham, Arsenal, Wolves, Tottenham, Liverpool, Leicester. The fixture run for Coutinho just isn't that great. For Aston Villa, I should say. So for me, if you've already got Ramsey and Coutinho, I'd maybe look to ship your Aston Villa player. So I really like those transfers, and I would probably sell Luka Dean and I'd keep Seiss. Aston Villa and Wolves are both pretty poor defensively, to be honest, so I don't think it really matters from a defensive perspective. Right, let me get... That's what I was doing. Let me get my history just to show you that the hits have been working all right, to be fair. What am I doing? Game week history. Right, let's see how this works. Sorry. You're going to see a little bit of OBS tinkering here a little bit. Right, focus, Ross. What are we doing there? Not that one. That one? Let's go with that. Right. And then gotta love the live, trying to work out how this all works. Bang. There we go. That's what I was after. Right. If I just zoom out a little bit. So this is my game week history through the season thus far. Right. So as you can see, game week 1, we started really well. 67k overall rank. Right. Then basically, for this whole period up to the Havertz incident in game week 9, I just basically stayed at the same rank, right? Nothing much changed at all. I then captained Havertz, went from 59k to 200k in that week. Remember, that was the Havertz gate in game week 9, so that was an absolute disaster. After then hitting 200k, I then went straight back to 78k, and then look, from game week 11, 34k, 33k, 44, 40, 36, 50, 30, 44, 60, 29, 49, 55, it's 56, 62, 38, 43, 39, 36. My rank hasn't changed all season, apart from that 1 week where I was outside the top 200k. With respect to your question about no way you're taking hits and still getting a good rank, you can see here, I took a -12, followed by loads of -4s, got a few green arrows, went from 50k to 30k the week after I took the -12, taken the -20, since taking the -20, I've actually had 2 back-to-back green arrows, and then I took another -8, and I'm on a green arrow again this week. So hits aren't bad. And not only are these hits setting me up for the weeks that they were in, these hits have also allowed me to have a good team for 29, and then also load up on players for blank game week 30, which has allowed me to save my free hit. So if you're wondering, can hits actually pay off? Absolutely, they can. And my 3 transfers for this week, if I go on to... is it my transfer history? Points, transfer history. If I go on to that, my 3 transfers this week were Coutinho, Rafinha, and James in for Foden, Cancelo, Gray. Coutinho's already got 13 points. James has already got 18 points. And Rafinha's got 2 points, but he's obviously my captaincy for this game. So I'm already massively up. Foden got 2, Gray got none or 1, and Cancelo got 1 or 2. And then each, like I said, Coutinho 13, Rafinha 2, James 18. So if you're wondering if hits work, they absolutely do. They could be absolutely massive. And the game week 26 hit, if I just scroll down to the game week 26 hit, what we got with game week 26 is I brought in Lacazette, I brought in Saka, I brought in Salah as well. So these are all players, Lacazette and Saka in particular, did very well in game week 26. So I think the hit works perfectly well. And what it's allowed me to do is save the wild card as well for later on in the season. I can set up my wild card after game week 33 to attack the back end of the season for teams that players are going to struggle to get on with free transfers, and then also bench boost in 36. So I think it's gone fairly well, and I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. But hopefully that answers your question a little bit. I think you have done such bad planning, to be honest. Should have wildcarded last week. All these wasted points to get players many people already have is such a waste. All to hope for a better opportunity to wildcard. I appreciate that, James. It's a very kind comment. I think I'm fine. Thank you very much. I'm still getting green arrows. Everyone else that is using chips now is going to have to take hits later. And I've got a relatively good idea about what the fixture is going to look like for 33 to 36. And I think people are going to massively struggle that have played an early wildcard. So I personally think that you're going to be absolutely fine if you wildcard late. It's not hoping that there will be a better opportunity. I'm pretty sure there'll be a good opportunity to free hit in 30 and to wildcard in 34. So thank you for the very kind words, my man, but I'm fine. Booner is trolling. Rafinha not in the squad tonight. What the F? You're definitely trolling. Get out of the chat, Booner. Don't start that. Get over on Twitter if you want to troll with that stuff. Unless he's being serious, then I'm in the mud with my captaincy, but I think we're fine. We've got another super chat from Zubim. It says Kulusevski, Odegaard, Robertson, and Doherty for a -12. Is it worth it? I'm not like a massive fan of Odegaard. His underlying data is relatively poor, but I don't mind him. The thing is with Odegaard as opposed to Martinelli is that you're going to get lots of extra fixtures. You're going to get lots of extra minutes, I should say, on top of Martinelli. Odegaard's much more likely to get sort of 90 minutes. And when Smith Rowe comes in, I would it'd be much more likely that Martinelli would miss out as opposed to Odegaard. So I think Odegaard's fine. I'd still probably take the risk on Martinelli, though. His underlying statistics are much better than Odegaard's. But yeah, I really like that. -12, Zubin. I think that's absolutely fine. Hello there. Have you spoken about Reguilon versus Doherty? Not yet. No, I haven't. Do you know what? Let's do that. I'll just get the underlying statistics up for them to... Very kind comment. Yeah, the chat really liked that comment as well. We do appreciate kind comments such as that. Right, so let's look at the underlying statistics because I think a lot of people will be interested in... I haven't looked at these yet for today, by the way. I've been lecturing all day, so I haven't had a chance to look at Reguilon versus Doherty. So I'll get up the underlying statistics and we'll have a bit of a chat around that. So Reguilon versus... you know what? Let's do it in this, and then we can get it up on the screen. What do you guys think in the chat? Let me know in the chat. Do you like Reguilon or Doherty? Who do you think's more likely to start the next 3 games out of Reguilon and Doherty? And who do you think, if they both start, who do you think is the best option? So just have a little bit of a chat whilst I get this up in the chat. Who do you think out of Doherty and Reguilon? And the reason that we're all considering Reguilon now, before you start saying Doherty, is that Sessegnon is injured until the international break, which means that Doherty will get... Reguilon, I should say, is more likely to start the next 3 games. It's not confirmed by any means, but I do think it's significantly more likely. So it now makes Reguilon a serious option. We're just going to have to wait and see, I guess, who outscores who. But I do think a few people will start to go towards Reguilon now. Let's get Doherty in there. Right, let's see how this goes. Yeah, see, there's actually a few Reguilons in the chat now. I think quite a few people are actually quite keen on Reguilon. By the way, if you are watching this live, please do drop a thumbs up. If you drop a thumbs up, it basically pushes this video to more people, this live stream to more people. And it just really helps support the channel. It's completely free for you to do. You just have to scroll, hit the like, and then carry on watching the video. So please do consider dropping a like on the video. Right, let's get up Reguilon and Doherty's stats, and let's have a bit of a comparison between those two. I'm going to have to just do a littleit of moving around of this, so I'll just have to zoom out a little bit there. Sorry about this. I wasn't planning on being on this site, so it's going to take a little bit of shifting around. Right, that should hopefully do the trick. So what we've got here is we've got Reguilon and Doherty's underlying statistics. First, we're going to just take a look at their touch map. So this is their touch maps across the season. Now, Reguilon has played 1,497 minutes, whereas Doherty has only played 509 minutes. So that is something to bear in mind, okay? So we're significantly more likely to see like better statistics from Doherty because he's playing on a much smaller sample size. So that is something to bear in mind. With respect to their touch maps, I would say Reguilon's definitely looks better, right? Doherty tends to stop. He doesn't progress to the byline. He doesn't progress into the box as much. He actually, where he gets most of his sort of creativity and his assist is actually normally from sort of early crossing positions. And we actually saw for the Kane assist, he sort of chipped in a ball from that early crossing position. He actually gets into very similar creative positions to Trent Alexander-Arnold. But the thing with Trent Alexander-Arnold is he's obviously got a much better delivery than sorry, that traffic outside's really loud. Much better delivery than Doherty. So you're much more likely to see assists from Trent, even if they're in similar positions. God, that bike out loud. So loud. Right. Oh, yeah, good idea. I'll run a poll. So Doherty versus Reguilon. Right, just who do you prefer? I won't get complicated with asking a really complicated question. So Doherty versus Reguilon, who do you prefer? Let me know. And try not to bias this with who you plan on bringing in. Like, have a real think about it. Who do you prefer, Doherty or Reguilon? Right, so do that poll there. Yeah, so with the touch maps, I do think I prefer Reguilon's. He's getting into the box a little bit more. You can't see my cursor, but Reguilon just does look a little bit better there for me, just at an early glance. We have also just had 2 people just randomly join and become members. So is it Suche? Is that how you pronounce your name? Let me know if I've absolutely butchered that in the chat, mate. I'll look out for your message. I think that's Suche. I see you in quite a few of the chat, the live streams before. And Super Duper FC has also become a member. So massively appreciate both you guys becoming members. I really do appreciate that. Welcome to the Raptier family. So that's the touch maps. If we take a look at the shot maps, right, this is something definitely worth noting. Now, pay attention to this. Doherty has played a third of the minutes of Reguilon. He's almost had as many shots already, though, right? So Reguilon has played, like I said, about 1,000. Is it 1,500 minutes? Is that what we said? Yeah. So Reguilon's played 1,500 minutes. Doherty has played 509. So Reguilon's played 3 times the minutes that Doherty has, and yet Reguilon's actually only had 15 shots, whereas Doherty has already had 11 shots. So straight away, and even the positioning of Doherty's shots, he's getting shots in the box as well. You can see all of them. If I just hover over them, they're quite high XG opportunities in there as well. So he's getting quite a lot of shots, only a couple outside the box. A lot of Reguilons have actually been outside the box as well. So inside the box, they're having a similar amount of shots. And like I said, Doherty's had a third of the minutes. So straight away, oh, my camera's lagging. Let me just turn it off. Oh, no, not that one. That one. I'll just turn my camera off for 2 seconds, guys. I'm still here. I don't think that's my internet. I think that's just my camera lagging. So based on that, Doherty is the one to own, right? So Doherty is getting a lot more shots off than Reguilon. But like I said, if we're looking at the touch maps, I actually prefer Reguilon just about. If we look at the attempted assists, Reguilon is much better than Doherty. But once again, like I said, if we take into account minutes, you would actually say Doherty's doing a pretty fantastic job. So you can see here, Reguilon's getting a lot of sort of crosses in from that wide position, but that's because Doherty's not getting into that position, right? If we go back to the touch maps, Doherty's not getting into this position towards the byline, whereas Reguilon really is. So you can see the attempted assists sort of pay homage to that in that Doherty's not getting into those sort of deep crossing positions. He gets into more of those early crossing positions. So I would say so far I do prefer Doherty, but Reguilon's definitely got a lot about him. The main thing that's making me like Doherty is, wow, that's a lot of shots. In only 500 minutes, to be having 11 shots is highly impressive. If we then sort of scroll down now to their underlying statistics, right? This is where it becomes very obvious why I'm going for who I'm going for currently, right? This is average statistic per 90 minutes from Fantasy Football Fix. The reason we're doing per 90 minutes is basically Reguilon has played a lot more minutes. So if we do total statistic, Reguilon is going to be a lot higher on most of them because he's just played so many more minutes. But when we look at per 90 statistics, Matt Doherty comes out on top in almost every single one of them. So let me just see if my camera is working back in again so I can look you in the eye as I'm telling you these things. But Doherty's just been really impressive. Now, over a small sample size, you do tend to expect the player to be slightly better than the player with sort of a large sample size, but it's still very interesting. Let's get the camera back on. Cool, there we go. So goals is basically their actual output. So Doherty's got a 0.18, Reguilon's at 0.12. Expected goals, Doherty's underlying statistics are ridiculous. So Doherty's currently got a 0.38 expected goals per 90. That is better than most sort of, I'm pretty sure that's better than the Son. I think it's close to being better than Kane. It might actually be better than Kane's expected goals per 90. It's much better than Saka, much better than Kulusevski. So with Doherty, you're actually getting underlying statistics that are pretty much close or better than most premium sort of strikers. But of course, Doherty has played a very, very small amount of minutes. So this is going to be skewed in his favour. But it's still worth noting that that is an incredible underlying statistic. Shots per 90, Doherty's getting almost 2 shots per 90. Reguilon's getting 0.9. And then shots on target per 90, Doherty's coming out on top. Shots in the box, he's getting over double what Reguilon's getting. We saw that with how many shots in the box he's got already. I mean, expected assist, there is nothing apart from crosses that Reguilon's coming out on top with. So, again, very much skewed by the small sample size. But for me, when we take into account price, when we take into account recent form as well, Doherty just looks like the one to own for me personally. All right, so that's why I'm currently looking at Doherty. And if you are wondering, I do think that Doherty's probably still the one to own personally for those reasons. Just got a super chat from True Fandela. Thank you very much, man. I know you've had a few super chats in the past, so I massively appreciate that. He says, hi, you think that this -4 operation is reasonable? Selling Davies, Tottenham and Bowen for Doherty and Kulusevski. I'm in desperate need of catching up. I don't mind that, True Fandela. I'd probably just keep Davies, though. I think he's more nailed for minutes. And I also just think that that's probably not worth the extra -4. So I would just probably do the Bowen to Kulusevski for free. I don't mind the Davies to Doherty, but I would probably just do the Bowen to Kulusevski move myself. Johnny says small sample size alert. Absolutely. And I'm trying to reiterate every time that this is a small sample size. However, I do still think that Doherty's underlying statistics, you're going to struggle to ignore them. Even over a longer sample size, they're still highly impressive. And we saw at Wolves what you can do in a 5-back formation with quite a lot of license to go forward. But Reguilon's underlying statistics, for someone that doesn't, for someone that has played quite a few minutes Reguilon, his underlying statistics are really good. So to still have 0.3 expected goals and 0.18 expected assists, that's a 0.31 expected goal involvement per 90. So over a large sample size, Reguilon's still got some impressive data. So I don't mind either of them. I still haven't fully decided, but I just look at these statistics from Doherty, and even over a small sample size, I think I want to jump on that and give it a go. So that's the reason for that. The poll so far, so for those of you that can't see the poll, maybe you're just watching on your phone and you're not looking at the chat, Doherty's currently got 67% of votes. Reguilon's currently got 34%. And I mean, you would expect that due to a bit of recency bias potentially, and also due to the fact that a lot of content creators are recommending Doherty. But I do still think that will probably be representative of what we'll see. I think a few people will now transition to Reguilon, and I don't dislike it at all. But Doherty's probably the one for me at the moment. Says, come on, can't even look at stats when a lot of the minutes came from just Everton and Leeds. For sure, but he still had to do something against Everton and Leeds. We've seen lots of players that have blanked against Everton and Leeds. So, yes, they aren't playing well at the moment, Everton and Leeds, but that doesn't mean you just disregard the statistics. It means you take them with a bit of a pinch of salt. But I still think that you need to look at the statistics, no matter who you've played against, right? There are so many right-backs this season that would have played against Leeds and would have played against Everton that haven't done that well, so... Andre says, Doherty is the man. Yes, like that. Frosty says, price forces my hand more so than underlying statistics. Yeah, that's the other thing. Maybe you can't even afford Reguilon, and that was just a meaningless chat to have. But I know for a lot of us, you might have the money. So many people considering a -4 to go from Son to Kane. I don't get it. What's your thoughts? Yeah, I wouldn't do that. If you've got Son, I'd keep Son. I don't think it's worth the -4 for me to go from Son to Kane. That's just my opinion on it. Like, there's different ways to approach this game. There's different ways to sort of chase the upside. Son's underlying statistics have been really good recently. Let's take a look at that as well, actually. That would make for an interesting sort of comparison between the two. Let me know in the chat if you're enjoying me doing this sort of stuff, or if you want me to just shut up and answer your questions. But I feel like these are going to be the major questions anyways, me talking through some of the statistics, making some of these comparisons between the two. So I think it's worth it. But do let me know if you want me to just do something else instead. Also, please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel as well. Right, let's refresh this. So we're going to do a comparison now between Kane and Son, and we'll see if it's worth it for me to go from Son to Kane. All right, so let's select Kane and let's select Son. Right. Nope, not that one. Why do I keep doing that? I keep clicking the wrong bloody thing on the stream deck. Right, here we go. So this is Kane and Son across the entirety of the season. Like, what incredible touch maps, by the way. It just shows you how talismanic they both are for Tottenham. You don't ever really see touch maps that are that sort of widespread for two very, very key players. So... highly impressive for both of them. I don't think there's that much to draw from the touch maps, but what I would say is, my word, Kane gets a lot of central touches in the box, right? Yes, Son's also getting a lot of touch in the box, potentially even more, but look how many central touches Kane gets right in and around that penalty spot. He's a real sort of poacher, isn't he? Right? We've known that for a while now. He's that sort of fox in the box. He'll get into good positions. With respect to how many minutes they've played before we look at it, so Kane has played slightly more minutes, right? 2,153 versus 1,992. So that is something to bear in mind. But not enough of a difference to really worry too much. We will still look at per 90 statistics, of course. So if we just look at shots across the season, they've both taken a ridiculous amount of shots, but Kane's definitely shooting more than Son. Son, when he does take shots, they tend to be in the box as well as outside the box. Same with Kane as well. You can see quite a lot of high XG opportunities for both of them, but Kane's definitely taking the more shots, and you do really want that from your captaincy. You do want them to take a lot of shots. If we take a look at attempted assists, Son's taking a lot more attempted assists. So you can see, but a lot of those are from corners. So don't just always look at things like attempted assists and key chances. Also have a look at where they're getting those attempted assists from. So Son's getting, like I said, as you can see, as I'm hovering over them, a lot of his attempted assists are from corners. Whereas most of Kane's are kind of from open play. Obviously doesn't take corners. A lot of them are sideways passes. And then you can just see the odd one, which is absolutely incredible. That sort of ping from in his own half here. This was actually the goal for in the most recent game week, right? In game week 28, this was the goal for Son, where he pinged that ball over the top. And in game week 27 it was, wasn't it? When he pinged the ball over the top to Son. That's where he's so impressive. So attempted assist, you can't really draw that much. Touch maps, you can't really draw that much either. If we take a look at the underlying statistics, however, for the two of them, per 90, Kane's definitely coming out on top right across the entirety of the season. So expected goals, we've got 0.47 for Kane, 0.41 for Son. Shots, slightly more for Kane in comparison to Son. Shots on target, slightly more. Shots in the box, quite a bit more for Kane. Goal assists and goals, Son's coming out on top. So Son's actually outperforming his underlying statistics, whereas Kane is underperforming his underlying statistics. So that's quite interesting. Expected assist, basically identical. Attempted assist, as we said, Son is coming out on top there. Big chances created, Kane's actually coming out on top in comparison to Son. And then crosses is basically identical as well. So there's not actually that much to separate them, in my personal opinion there. You've got slightly higher expected assists, like ever so slightly. They're basically identical per 90 there. And then you've got ever so slightly higher expected goals, and that's 0.06 expected goals higher for Kane. The underlying statistics for Kane and Son aren't too dissimilar, and when you look at that, I do wonder if it's worth taking a -4 to take out Son to bring in Kane. Potentially not. What I also just wanted to quickly do is just look at maybe just over the most recent game weeks. So let's look potentially from something like game week 24, which is when Kulusevski came in, right? So game week 24 is when Kulusevski came into the side. If we just look from game week 24 for both of them, slightly more, obviously a lot more shots for Kane, which is quite interesting. So 22 shots for Kane, only 11 shots for Son. So you can see it there, 22 for Kane, 11 for Son. That would make me lean towards Kane straight away. And a lot of Kanes are in incredibly good positions. Like, look how close some of these are to the goal. Lots and lots of shots in the box. Son's not actually getting that many shots in good goal-scoring opportunities. He has obviously had the 3 goals there, the 3 green dots there. So not too bad, but for me, Kane's definitely looking a lot better in the last 6 or 7 game weeks there. If we then just scroll down to their underlying statistics to compare the two per 90, Kane's looking a lot better over the last 6 or 7 in comparison to Son. So he's got a lot more goals per 90. Expected goals now is 0.57 for Kane, which is very, very good. 0.42 for Son. So very good for Kane there. Shots, he's getting 3.67 shots per 90. 1.96 for Son. Shots on target higher. Shots in the box is exactly double for Kane in comparison to Son. However, expected assists, Son is actually coming out on top here. So Son's been slightly more creative than Kane in recent weeks, whereas Kane's obviously had the slightly better goal threat. So what you've got there is you've got a 0.85 expected goal involvement for Kane versus what we got here, 0.76 for Son. So even over recent weeks when Kane has looked incredibly good, there's still not that much to separate Kane and Son. So I guess all this is coming down to, over and over again, is basically, if you own Son, I probably wouldn't take Son out for a -4. But if you have the choice of the two, I do think Kane's the one to go for. So let me know what you think in the chat. Hopefully that little ramble was helpful for you guys to see what I think regarding the Son and Kane debacle at the moment. What site is this? It's Fantasy Football Fix. Let me just get the... That's the exact link for you guys if you're interested in doing what I've just done there. Fantasy Football Fix. That is, I think that's a free feature. I mean, I've got premium membership, so I can never remember what's actually free and what's not. But yeah. How about a Kulusevski and Son comparison? We can do that in a bit. Kulusevski's stats are just slightly worse, right? So it's like Kane, Son, Kulusevski. There are sort of around a 0.5 expected goal involvement, so they're not that much worse than Son's. That's why, for me at the moment, I think the best value for money, the best that you can get in your team if you're choosing from scratch, is probably Kulusevski and Kane. And that's why I'm looking to have that for my team. Right, we're going to run another poll in a second once this poll ends. Evening, Ross. Are you a Wolves fan by any chance? I'm not, mate. I'm a Manchester United fan. Why? What's your question, though? Still drop your question in the chat. I might be able to help. Let's run another poll. Who's your captain for game week 29? Right. Right. Who is your captain for game week 29? And I'm going to do Salah, Kane, and then I'm just going to do other. I know that's only 2 options, but I'm pretty sure most people are going to just say Son or Kane. And if it is other, let me know in the chat who your other is. So there you go. Salah and Kane is the main 2 options, I think, on that captaincy. Is Jimenez worth keeping? I want to wait for tonight to see if Jimenez is worth keeping. If he starts tonight and looks good, he might be worth it. I mean, I'm going to sell him anyway because I want to get Kane. But for you guys that don't need to sell Jimenez and you can't get to Kane, then potentially you might just want to end up keeping him. Keith says, colours on your channel scream Wolves. They do, don't they? My colours are very Wolvesy. It was my graphic designer at the time. I do most of my own graphics now, but my graphic designer at the time created the badge for me, the logo, and he just created it with those colours. And I was like, do you know what? I actually really like sort of the orange and grey. It sort of sets me apart from other YouTube channels, I think, because most people are using the purple and the greens from FPL. So I think, yeah, it sets me apart slightly here. If you get any early team news, let me know in the chat and I'll jump over to Twitter. We should be getting team news in 10 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll answer questions for the next 10 minutes whilst we're waiting. And then if we do get any early team news, I'll jump over to Twitter. Is Cancelo worth keeping? I sold him, but I mean, it depends. Obviously, if he's still ill for game week 29, then probably not. But he doesn't play in 30. He's got a decent fixture in 31 against Burnley, but then it's Liverpool in 32. I think you can probably get away with selling Cancelo now, but it's completely up to you. I wouldn't sell him just for the sake of it. Keith says your knowledge sets you apart more. I really appreciate that, Keith. It's very nice of you to say. Triple captain Salah for me. God, Salah's on 83% of votes. Not many people fancy Kane. Interesting. I thought there'd be more people. If you're in the chat, make sure, number one, you like the video. Please do drop a like on the video, but also vote on the poll. There's a poll at the moment in the chat for who your captain is for game week 29. 83% on Salah at the moment. Interesting. Is Fraser worth a punt for his double? And he also plays in game week 30. Chris Irvine says Fraser doesn't play in game week 30. Chris, Newcastle blank in game week 30. So Fraser might be worth a punt, but just beware that you're not getting him in. You're not getting him in game week 30, and then game week 31. I think they've got Spurs. So I think you've probably missed the boat a little bit with Newcastle. Steve says I'm on other. You know who I'm going for with the captaincy. I can't remember who you said. Is it Son? It's not Trent again, is it? You're not making that decision again to go for Trent. I can't remember who you said, Steve. Let us know in the chat who you're captaining. Andre says the king is the king. Kane is not the king. Fair enough, to be fair. I'm captaining Salah as well, but I thought there would be more people that fancied a potential captaincy punt on Kane. Kane treble captain for me. I like it. A few people going for the triple captain on Kane. Chris says, my heart's going with Kane, to be honest, but so hard not to triple captain Salah. Triple captain Kane could be absolutely huge. He does look very good at the moment. Darshil says Rudiger might be benched. Who says that? I mean, I would love that. He's one of the major threats to my rank, but I know a lot of people you wouldn't. Would you take a punt on Calvert-Lewin? Yes, I really like the punt on Calvert-Lewin. Who was it that mentioned that to me? I was messaging today. I think it was Max. Yeah, I was pretty sure it was Max, one of our Rap Tier 1 members. We were discussing Calvert-Lewin in private message today, and I actually really like it. I quite like Calvert-Lewin as a punt because he plays in game week 29, doubles in game week 29. He's also likely to double in game week 31 or 32, and then he might potentially have a double in 33, but he's likely to play in 33 as well. So I really like Calvert-Lewin as an option. You just got to hope that he stays fit, to be honest. When are you selling De Gea? There's just no need to sell De Gea. I'll probably sell De Gea on my wildcard in 34. There's just I don't see the massive need. Like, I'm not getting that much money by downgrading him, to be honest. Robert says, the fact that you make time for everyone, irrespective member or not, that's what sets you apart. Thank you very much, Robert. Of course, the members get priority, but yeah, I do try and make time for everyone. I don't think it's fair to only let people that can pay me. Obviously, I have to reply to the super chats and the members, but if people can't pay me, I don't want to just not respond to their comments. That would be pretty sad, wouldn't it? Stephen says, hi, Ross, would you sell Alonso or Cancelo for Doherty? I'd sell Alonso, to be honest. I'd get rid of him. He just doesn't... He's constantly got issues with like fitness and illness, and I'm just not sure that he's going to start. So I'd probably sell Alonso myself. Foden, James, and King to Saka, Doherty, and Kane for a -8. That looks class. Yeah, definitely take that -8 hit. Werner starts. Apparently, everyone's saying in the chat. We'll jump over to Twitter in a few minutes to have a look. Steve says, fancy another Trent party. Fair enough. Some people are captaining Trent again. I do think it's a good game week to captain Trent, to be fair. Saka captain. I don't mind Saka captain. I think I'd probably go, for me, it would be Salah, Kane. Saka would probably be my third choice in my current team for Game Week 29. Hi, Ross. Do you think Bowen's Kulusevski is a fair move? Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I'm actually making that move as part of the -12, so for sure. Views on Kane versus Salah. I think Salah captain is more out of fear than anything. It isn't fear. It's acknowledgement of the potential of Salah. The issue with strikers is Kane got a brace and he only got 13 points in Game Week 28. Salah could get 11 points with 1 goal, with an assist. Like, it's just a lot easier for midfielders with high potential to outscore for strikers, just due to the extra point for a clean sheet, extra point for a goal. So if I'm ever in doubt, I tend to back the midfielder. And also, Salah is Salah. And I just think I trust him to do quite well. Yeah, so in a few minutes, we'll jump over to Twitter and we'll discuss the team news for each of the teams. Fingers crossed Jimenez starts. Fingers crossed Saiss and Cody start. Apparently, there might be some rotation in the Wolves side tonight. There's talk of Saiss or Kilman dropping out. If Saiss drops out, I'm going to be pretty gutted because I've got him for tonight. I guess I could show you actually what my team's looking like for tonight for the rest of the games. Let me do that. Let me jump over to... We have just got a super chat. It says, would you triple up on the Spurs for Game Week 29 and Game Week 30 from Dave? Yes, Dave, I would. I'm going to triple up on them. I'd at least double up on them because even 31 and 32, they've got good fixtures as well. So I would be on at least the Spurs double up, and probably my top 2 choices would be Kulusevski and Kane, and that third spot would probably be a defender if I was looking at doing that. Right, let's try this. See how it goes. Let's just zoom out a little bit then. I'm going to go on to that one, actually. Let's do that. Apologies for some of the technology embarrassments tonight. Right, so that's my team for the rest for tonight, for the games. So I've got Saiss, hopefully, and Cody, hopefully. Obviously, James isn't playing. And then I've got Rafinha captain and Coutinho and Jimenez. So I've got basically 5 in play, plus Rafinha captain would make it a 6th if you count Rafinha twice. So really, I need a big performance from Rafinha, and I need a huge performance from Leeds. A clean sheet and a goal for Jimenez would be ideal, or a bullet header for Saiss or Cody would be massive as well. So fingers crossed we do okay in the games tonight. All right. Let's jump over to Twitter. And right, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit on this then. Right, let's have a look. What's been said? You're just going to be scrolling through Twitter with me for a second to see, basically, any updates with respect to early team news, basically. Right. Does King start? Right, we're going to have a look now. I've got them loaded and ready. Right, I've got all of the teams loaded here. It'll be just off your screen. Right. The one I'm most interested in is Wolves for me. So we're going to start by taking a look at the Wolves team, and then afterwards we'll look at some others. So it's 29 past. So we're just waiting for half past. I think the Leeds game's at 7:45. So we're going to have to wait 15 minutes for the Leeds Aston Villa team sheets. But everything else we should get at 6:30. Daniel says, hi, Raptor. First time in a live with you. Been following the content for a while. Lots of decent insight from you each week. Props and bravo. Thank you very much, Daniel. Glad you could finally make a live stream. Mount and Havertz start, apparently. Rudiger's actually benched. Apparently, Rudiger's benched. Right, let's go straight to the Chelsea team then. That would be really interesting. Oh, my goodness. So Rudiger is actually benched. After all of that, Rudiger misses one of the games. That is very interesting. Wow. Did not see that coming. I'm probably looking quite smug now. I am feeling slightly smug, but I did not see that coming at all. Pretty shocked about that. Let me just back off like that because it looks a bit weird like that. Wow. That is incredibly interesting. Very, very interesting. Natasha's just become a member. Thank you very much, Natasha. I do appreciate that. I'll probably remember to thank you on Twitter as well. I do appreciate that. Wow, Rudiger. Interesting. Right, I want to have a look at Wolves. We'll have a sort of chat about some of the key players that are missing in a second. So Rudiger's benched. Jimenez starts, Cody starts, and Sai starts, and Kilman does drop out. Does he? Is Kilman? No, yeah, Kilman's on the bench, so Bolly's starting. Interestingly. Right, interesting. So for Wolves, we've got Kilman dropping out. We've got Cody and Sai starting and Jimenez starting. So I've got Jimenez, Cody, and Sai. Hwang and Jimenez start together. Interesting. So the two big benchings that I've seen so far are Rudiger benched, and we've also got Kilman benched as well. Right. What other teams? So we've got Norwich. I don't think we care too much, do we? We'll have a quick look at Norwich's team. I don't think anyone's got any Norwich players. Pookie starts would be the only one that someone might own. Williams starts, right? That looks like a fairly okay team for Norwich. Outside of that, Newcastle. Let's have a look at Newcastle. Okay, so Fraser is playing. Fraser looks good to go. And then we've also got Matt Targett's in there, Shah's in there, Willock's in there as well, Chris Wood's in there. Right, so I can't see any surprises with that Newcastle team. Right, nothing major there. And then who's the other one? Southampton. Let's have a look at the Southampton team. So Southampton have Livramento, Cole, Peters, Bednarak, Ward-Prowse, Broja, and Adams. Right, so there's absolutely no surprises. So the only two key surprises we've got are Kilman's benched and Rudiger. Now, Rudiger benching is probably the key one, right? Again, I'm feeling slightly smug and slightly happy because he's one of the main people that's going to damage my rank. Let's just take a little bit more of a detailed look at that Chelsea team. So we've got Mendy, Chalobah, Thiago Silva, Christians. And so Thiago Silva was the one to own. All right, so if you were looking to try and own a player for the Game Week 28 double, then Thiago Silva looks like he was actually the one to own. And then Mendy obviously would have been a decent option. Azpilicueta's back, interestingly, right? So Azpilicueta's fine and fit. So that might take minutes off James of the future anyway, even if he was fit. Jorginho and Kovacic in the midfield. Sal's playing. Mount, Havertz and Werner. So another benching for Lukaku, interestingly. Kante on the bench. So apart from Rudiger and Kilman, I can't see any other surprise benchings, to be honest. Let me know in the chat if I've missed anything. I'm delighted with that Wolves lineup. I'm so happy that all three of my Wolves players start. I didn't look at the Watford side. That was the one. Josh King's starting and Dennis is starting, right? Yeah. So Watford do theirs by numbers. I couldn't see King at first. So King starting, Foster starting, Dennis is starting. They're the main three, aren't they? I've got King on my bench and I'm starting double Wolves. If King scores and wipes out my double Wolves clean sheet, I'm going to lose it. I'm not going to be happy about that. Yeah, Frosty says I'm devastated with that Wolves lineup because I know you have Kilman. There's a bit of a sucker punch for Kilman, but to be honest, we did say that when Bolly's back, Kilman's going to be the one to potentially miss out. So yeah, I know a lot of people captained Rudiger as well. That really sucks. Yeah, Jude's literally just said, sorry, captain Rudiger as well. That sucks. Yeah, Josh King's going to block a lot of Saka subs. A lot of people are going to have had Saka on the bench ready to go, and Josh King's going to block that. So I guess I hope for you that he's going to get some points. Was there any other things in the lineups that I missed, guys? Anything else interesting? Yeah, 8 Newry starts. That's good. Would you do a watch along for a midweek fixture? So I don't have like a TV. I watch my games streaming through BT Sport and through Sky Sports like apps. So I'm always like 3 or 4 minutes behind. So I just think the chat would kind of ruin it. Not on purpose, not by being rude, but I just think they would end up ruining it by basically in the comments being like, this person scored. So I might do like a watch along, but it wouldn't be a watch along. I'd be basically just refreshing Twitter and I'd have the game up, but it wouldn't be sort of live reactions to the goals. So we'd have to think about that. If you want to see a watch along, let me know in the chat if that would be something that interests you. Oh, we just got a Rap Tier 1 member, FPL_Diz. I appreciate that, my man. So message me on Twitter or message me on Discord and I'll get you added to our private Rap Tier chat. And I'll also, if you want to send me a team and get any advice, feel free to do so as well. But yeah, if you just join, you can join our Discord. I'll get you entered into our private channel and I'll also give you the Rap Tier 1 sort of private mini league that we've got as well. So if you do want to become a Rap Tier 1 member, you get personalized feedback on your team. You get entered into our private channel on Discord. You also get entered into our Rap Tier mini league as well. So you get lots of perks for that. It's the join button next to the subscribe button, or there's a link in the description if you want to become a Rap Tier member. For Rap Tier 2 members, it's actually only 99p a month. So it's super cheap. Super, super cheap. Jimenez starting is interesting. It is. It is. And I'm still selling Jimenez, but it might make him a better option for Game Week 30 if he's potentially back soon. You'd expect Luka Dean, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm interested to see the league. I don't know why. I've got a really bad feeling that like Rafinha's benched. I think that's just a slight worry. But hopefully, fingers crossed, Rafinha's fine. I guess I do want Luka Dean to play because it might potentially be blocking some Saka subs. But I think Leeds will score today. Potentially. Aston Villa lineup, yeah, it's 6:45. We'll get the Aston Villa and Leeds lineups. If Jimenez bangs, I might change my Son and Kulusevski -4 plans. What do you think? No, I'm still going to do it. Frosty says less than a pint of beer. That's the way I like to think about it, right? If you become a member, it's less than a pint of beer in London. It's probably not less than a pint of beer up north. It's less than a pint of beer in London per month for personalised team feedback and being entered into a private channel where you can chat with other people. It's a no-brainer. Sashin says, are you having an FPL collab with anyone anytime soon? Am I going to collaborate with any other FPL YouTubers? Yes. Oscar will probably be the first one. So FPL Focal, I want to get Oscar on the channel and I want to interview Oscar from like a psychological perspective. And next year I plan on having a series where I do some psychological interviews with some top managers, not only FPL YouTubers, but just top managers, different content creators. I'd like to get different people on like FPL Phillips Eddie. I'd like to get FPL Mate on Dan. I'm sure Andy would do it. Let's talk FPL Andy. I'd like to get Mark Southerns on, obviously the GOAT of FPL, as there are loads of people that I'd like to get on to chat FPL with, and I want to do a psychology series, but I would like Oscar to be the main one because I consider Oscar a friend and he's a top lad, and he supported the channel a few times as well while sort of sending his viewers over, and he's obviously having a cracking season, so I'd like to do a collaboration with Oscar soon, so look out for that for sure. It's just a matter of like getting tech sorted. Like I've just about sorted the tech for doing a one-person sort of stream and one-person video. It's a lot more difficult with two people. Joe says, I've just finished your book, Quality Read. I appreciate that, my man. Thank you very much. I don't know if I've still got the Watford lineup on screen. Let me go back. Just realised I've still just got the Watford lineup on your screen. Thank you very much for buying the book and reading the book and for the comments, Joe. I do appreciate that very much. I want Luka Dean to play. Just some bench boost isn't worthless. Yeah, a lot of people, if you're on bench boost, then you just want Luka Dean even to get a point, potentially. I think you should interview Johnny and Andre for sure. Do you know what? I actually will do some sort of member video on the channel at some point, whether it's the end of this season or beginning of next season, maybe over the summer. Definitely going to do that at some point. I'd love to interview, especially some of the members that are doing quite well. I think Johnny is top in our mini league, right? So I'll get on a couple of the members at some point. Maybe that'll be like one of the perks of becoming a member, for sure. Daniel says, James Alcott loves the psychological side of things, Raptor. Check him out. Yeah, I know James Alcott. I might be able to get James on. Yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a look at looks and see. I'd like to try and get a professional footballer on as well. I've got a few contacts. No one in the Prem currently. Like I haven't spoke to the likes of Carwin in a while, but I might be able to potentially get some kind of professional football on at some point to discuss FPL, similar to how Andy did with the Ben Foster video. There's no promises there, of course. Oscar's a good chap. Yeah, Oscar is a good chap. Love Oscar to pieces. I met Oscar at the other FPL meetup that we had in London, and we had a few drinks together. We had a few too many Jaeger bombs together. So yeah, I do really like Oscar. Score predictions for tonight. Great shout, Frosty. We'll do that once the Leeds Villa games are out. We'll do score predictions for tonight. Absolutely. That's why I gave you £2 because the lineup was on the screen. Well, thank you for the £2 and apologies for keeping that on the screen, my man. Ross, mate, you should do a random select of Raptor fans to interview. Not sure how helpful it would be, but definitely a first. That's a great idea. Do you know what? Maybe we'll do like an interview. Like maybe I'll do a video where I interview like a few people for 5 minutes, and after doing, maybe it will be like basically across their season, how they've got on, some different opinions and stuff. So that might be interesting. We're going to do some super cool content over the summer and next season. I've got some really cool ideas. This season, I just wanted to get off my feet. Like, this is my first season doing FPL YouTube. I only started like 6 or 7 months ago. So I just wanted to get back to doing I wanted to just get into the habit of just doing regular sort of safe content where I'm sat there in front of the camera and just doing team selection, game week preview videos. And now that I know I can do that, then maybe we'll do some more creative stuff next year. Right, we've got 4 minutes now until we'll get the lineup for Leeds Aston Villa, which will be exciting. Let's see if we've got any early team news on Leeds Aston Villa. It's just a lot of people on Twitter complaining about Kilman and Rudiger. A lot of people seem to be on a Kilman and Rudiger double up. And there was a lot of smug people that captained Rudiger that aren't feeling as smug now. It's bad luck if you did captain Rudiger, but for those of you that were giving it to the James owners, it's one of those things. Rudiger captainers in the mud. They are a little bit. I don't like to see people do badly unless they're being sort of giving it to other people. So yeah. By the way, that captaincy path just ended it. Everyone's captaining Salah, basically. So with the fact there's triple captaincies in play, I would be very shocked if you get any rank gain from Salah doing anything in Game Week 29. And if you're not captaining Salah, be ready for a potential massive rank fall. If you are watching the stream, by the way, we've got very few likes today. So there's almost 400 people watching. There's only 155 likes. So if you are enjoying this sort of laid back stream, talking about the lineups, talking about Game Week 29, Game Week 28, whatever it may be, please do drop a like on the video. It massively helps support us and it's completely free. And if you're watching this and you've not subscribed and you're new to my channel, quality content, I hope, every single week. Live streams every single week as well. So please do make sure to subscribe and stick around for the future. We're building something which I think is going to be fairly cool for the future on this channel, and I'm excited for the future. Will West Ham struggle to score against Aston Villa? I've got a feeling that'll be quite a tight game. I could be massively wrong there. But if I had to predict West Ham versus Villa, I'd predict a tight game there. Robbo or Doherty? I prefer Robbo, but he's obviously a massive price difference. And obviously Doherty plays in blank game week 30, so. Daniel says Coutinho to Golden is a wild -4 with Everton blanking in 33. Yeah, I'm not... I don't care because I'm free hitting in game week. No, it's that one, isn't it? I don't care because I'm free hitting in game week 33. So I'm free hit 33, wildcard 34, bench boost 36. Gordon has a double in 29, and Gordon also has a double in game week 31 or 32, probably, not definitely. So with all of that in mind, it makes sense for me to bring in Gordon as sort of like a make weight to get Kane in. So that's my current chip strategy, and that's why I'm considering doing that. We're gonna predict the games for tonight in a bit. Ross, what's your unbiased prediction of the Manchester United versus Spurs game? I think it's going to be like 1-1, 2-1. I couldn't predict which way it's going to go. I'd be very shocked if Spurs completely sort of annihilate us, but I equally don't think Manchester United have it in them to beat Spurs at the moment by that many goals. I think it'll be fairly close, to be honest. Raptor, what's your safety score for this week? I don't actually know. I'll look at that in a minute, Daniel. I haven't actually checked for this week. I think I'm just ahead of it. I can't remember exactly what it is. It's something like 63 or 64. Right, we're going to get the team news in a minute. So let's switch back over to Twitter and have a look now at what we're getting. Speaking of the man Oscar, there he is at the top of the screen. Right. So we're waiting now just for the Leeds and Aston Villa lineups, which we're going to be getting. Oh, this is very tense. To be honest, I've only got Coutinho and Rafinha, and I would hope both start. So it's mainly for those of you that are looking for that Luka Dean. Is Luka Dean going to start or not? That's the main one, isn't it? Right, here we go. Go straight to the Aston Villa team. What we got? Yep, Luka Dean is starting. All right, so Luka Dean is starting. So if you had any juicy bench points, you're not going to get those. But if you're bench boosting, you're delighted. All right, so Luca Dean starting. Outside of that, Ings and Watkins both start, and Coutinho also starts as well. So if you've got any of the... Is Ramsey starting? Yeah, Ramsey. So Ramsey, Coutinho, Ings, Watkins start. Luca Dean starts as well. Cash starts. There's no major surprises there with the Aston Villa team. All right. And then outside of that, we've got... Where's Leeds? Leeds there. I just want to know, is Rafinha starting? Yep, Rafinha starts. That's pretty much it, right? Rodrigo, James, and Harrison also start. So Jesse Marsch isn't rotating too much early on. That's a pretty... That might be the same starting 11, or it's a fairly close starting 11. Basically, no major surprises in the Leeds and Aston Villa lineup. Right, so again, if you do have points on the bench for Luca Dean, you've got Luca Dean. But Luca Dean could do fairly well. It's still a great fixture, of course. But the main thing for me is my captain starts. Rafinha captain starts, and Luca Dean also starts as well. All right? Yeah, Bamford on the bench again. But Bamford didn't come on in the last game, so we'll have to wait and see if Bamford comes on or not. I've just seen there is a super chat as well. Evening, Ross. Join the stream now. South Africa is load shedding stage 4, so no power. Oh, that sucks. Sorry, Max. No worries at all. I appreciate you joining. We did talk about you earlier. So we did just talk about your DCL decision and whether you're going to go for DCL or Lacazette. So I appreciate you tuning in. I'm sorry that you are having to load shed right now. I'm selling King. Should I get Lacazette or DCL? I have 2 Arsenal and 3 Liverpool. So I think the consensus that we came to is I actually really like the DCL punt. So I appreciate you asking that question again. Lacazette, I still think Lacazette's the safer, more sensible decision. But with the potential double in 31 and the potential double or potential double in 32 and DCL being on penalties, Everton need to get points. And I do really like the double game week for Everton. I actually think DCL is a decent option. So for me, the risk taker in me says DCL, but the sensible content creator in me says the one to go for is probably Lacazette. Do let me know that, Max, though. We'll probably carry on chatting in the Discord. Do let me know which one you end up going for. Let us know in the chat as well to help Max out whether you think DCL or Lacazette is the one to go for. There's the Chelsea lineup, by the way. Rudiger is benched. If you're joining this now and you haven't seen, Rudiger benching is the main decision. And Luca Dean starts. They're probably the main 3 key things. Kilman benched. Maybe 4, actually. Rudiger benched, Kilman benched at 3, and then Luca Dean starts. They're probably the main 3 pieces of news that we've got coming on. I think most people's captaincy start in like Captain Rafinha, Captain Coutinho as well, stuff like that. There's rumours Lacazette is injured, apparently, mentioned on Black Box. Yeah, that was from ages ago. I wouldn't worry about that. As far as I can tell, Lacazette's fine. I think that was an injury like picture from a while ago and people are panicking about it. So I think you're fine. I'm not going to lie, if if Rudiger comes on in the first 30 minutes, there's going to be all hell breaking loose on Twitter. So just so you know, if you're not aware with how FPL points and clean sheets work, if Rudiger comes on in the first 29 minutes, right, and he plays 60 minutes as a result, so if he comes on before the 30-minute mark, and he comes on, and in that time that he's on the pitch, Chelsea keep a clean sheet, Rudiger could still get a clean sheet. So Chelsea, Rudiger owners, if Rudiger comes on in that first sort of 29, 30 minutes and gets a clean sheet in that time when he's on the pitch, then you could still get a captaincy clean sheet from Rudiger. So whilst you never want an injury from someone, if there is some sort of illness or some sort of injury, then you're in a good position and you might end up getting a clean sheet from Rudiger. Right. Let me just do a poll on what you want me to do for the final 15 minutes. I'll run this poll for only 2 minutes. So get in the poll straight away. Just answer your questions. Cool, we'll do that. Go. Right, I've just run a poll there in the chat asking what you want to do for the final 15 minutes. Do you want to ask me, just answer your questions, just leave my team on screen, just answer your questions? Do you want me to go over to live@fpl.team and start planning ahead and show you what my team looks like and my thinking's like for game week 30 to game week 33? Or do you want to have a bit of fun predicting the game week 28 results, like the results for this evening, essentially? Let me know. I'll just leave that up for 2 seconds. Darshil says talk about non-FPL stuff with the chat. I might do that for like 5 minutes at the end, Darshil, because most people probably don't want me to do that. But I know some of you will. So please vote in the poll what you want me to do. God, my throat is knackered. So on most days, to be honest, I lecture all day. So I've just given 3 2-hour lectures on the bounce. Then I come and do a 2-hour live stream. And my throat, just from speaking. And the thing is, I don't even interact that much. I'm just speaking at people all day. Like right now, I'm sat in my room alone, speaking at a camera. In lectures, I'm just speaking at lots of students. So I just spend my whole time speaking at people. And it gets a little bit sort of boring after a while. One of those things, isn't it? Right, so keep voting. At the moment, planning ahead is winning. So at the moment, we'll jump onto FPL.team and start planning ahead. But if you want something else, make sure you are voting in the chat. We've only got 94 votes. There's 400 people watching. Get in the chat, vote on that poll. Dave says, are you at NTU? Yeah, I lecture at Nottingham Trent University. I lecture sport and exercise psychology to bachelor's sports science students. So sport and exercise psychology. So at the moment, we're looking at exercise psychology, but just before that, we're looking at the role of imagery. Before that, we're looking at arousal regulation in sport, how to reduce anxiety in elite sport, how to stop choking under pressure, that sort of stuff. How about a nice game of chess? I could play a game of chess if you want to. I mean, I don't think that's what I'd do here. I'd love to start a Twitch channel and just stream anything I fancy. Gaming, FIFA, Call of Duty, chess. I'd love to start all that stuff. Right. Planning ahead is winning. After we've planned ahead, we might do score predictions after that. But planning ahead is definitely winning. So what we'll do is we'll switch over to FPL.team and I'll just show you what my sort of thought process is behind the next few weeks. I love it. There's more questions about non-FPL stuff here. How long have you been lecturing there, Ross? I've been lecturing for 18 months since the start of my PhD. What university did you go to? I went to Royal Holloway University of London and then I went to Bangor University in North Wales. Right. Let me stop talking about myself. So narcissistic, Raptor. God, stop talking about yourself. Right. Let's do that one. Is that the one I want? That's the one I want. Check me out. I actually clicked on the right thing. So this website is fpl.team. It's wonderful. I obviously do know the man that created it, Peter. Absolutely fantastic site. If you want to, it's completely free. I'll just chuck it in the chat. I'm not paid to suggest it. What's my chess rating? I'm not going to tell you my chess rating because I don't really play chess anymore. I think I got up to about 800, which is pretty shocking, I know. I didn't really play chess that often. I'm a complete novice. Like, I know how to play chess. I know a few very basic openings, right? Outside of that, I'm not very good. I can open fairly well, and then I get sort of 4 or 5 moves in, and then I just go, what am I supposed to do now? My end game's all right as well. I know a few end games sort of... I know a little bit of end game theory, but the middle portion of a chess game, just absolute nightmare. So this is my team for Gameweek 29 with the hits. Like I said, 10 double Gameweek players. Looks very, very juicy, right? This is exactly what we want. So what the plan is so the -12 for Gameweek 29. I then go into Gameweek 30 looking like this. So let me know in the chat in Gameweek 30 how many players you have for blank Gameweek 30. So do you have sort of 7, 8, 9, 10? Also, let me know who's your captain. So in the chat, I'll give you an example. Say something like 10 players, Kane captain, right? Something like that in the chat. Let me know how many players you've got, and also let me know what your captaincy is as well. So let's sort out my team. I think I've got 9, but I'll have a free transfer, so I think I can get to 10, right? So that's correct. So Ramsdale in goal, Sice, Doherty, Cody as my defense. I actually think that defense is really nice. I've then got Saka, Rafinha, Kulusevski in midfield, and I've got Lacazette and Kane up top, and I'll be captaining Kane, right? And I'll probably vice-captain Saka. So let's see what people are saying in the chat. We've got 8 or 9, 10 captain will be Kane, 10 captain will be Kane, 9 captain will be Kane, 8 players captain Kane, 9 players captain Kane, 9 players captain Kane, 8 players captain Kane. Right, so the consensus tends to be here, from what I can see, is it will be roughly 8 or 9 players for most, and it will be Captain Kane. With the fact that I think a lot of people will take hits, if I had to try and predict now, I would say that the average amount of players is going to be something like 9.3, 9.4. We will be able to see that after the deadline, but I'd predict around 9.3, 9.4 average players from what I can see here. And it looks like Son and Kane are going to be the major captaincy shouts. So when you're trying to work out how many players you need and what I would try and get to maybe 6 or 7 players as a minimum. Ideally, maybe 8 or 9. If you can get to 10, 11, that would be great. And I would be looking at probably trying to get Son or Kane in for captaincy, right? So if you can, try and get one of those two in. If you can't, it's not the end of the world. I think Saka's a fine captaincy option. I think Kulusevski's fine. Lacazette's fine as well. But it looks like those would be the main two, right? Sorry, my internet is lagging out a little bit at the moment. We'll see whether that sort of clears up. Yeah, so 6. So I've seen a few with 6 and 7. I haven't seen anyone on 5 yet. And I assume for those of you that are on 5, you're probably going to end up free hitting anyway. I would say 5's where you're looking at a point where you might want to deploy the free hit. So with respect to what I would do here, I've got 0.6-ish million in the bank. If if Hwang looks good tonight and he plays again against Everton and looks good against Everton, I might potentially at this stage do King to Hwang. So again, this is all dependent on how good Hwang looks, but something like Hwang in for King, right? That would give me a pretty decent team, right? That would give me 10. That would give me another striker. I'd finally be able to take out Josh King. And also in game week 31, we've got Aston Villa for Wolves and then Newcastle. And then remember, I'm free hitting 33, wildcard 34. So Hwang actually gives me a really nice sort of set of fixtures there. So I'm not too against, to be honest, getting Hwang in for King. The other option is if Gelhardt starts and looks decent, I could get... No, I don't want Hwang King super duper. And I did say that separately so that YouTube doesn't demonetize me for this video. So yeah, I think I will probably end up making a move and it'd probably be Hwang in or Gelhardt in for King. And so I think I'll be going into game week 30 with 10. The other options that I really like are basically Leicester players. I think there are a few really good options for game week 30 from Leicester. So I think mainly for me, it would be Maddison, Barnes, or I quite like... Where's Daka? Did I skip past Daka? I think Daka's a really good option as well. There he is. I think Daka's a fantastic option. So I think if I could, I might end up doing that. But like I said, I've brought King in because he might have a double in 31 or 32. Gordon, sorry. I brought Gordon in for that potential double in 31 or 32. So I don't think I want to take Gordon out. So really, and I don't want to take out Trent, Van Dijk or Salah. So it's going to be that spot there where King is. So let's say I do Hwang. I'll then have 1 million in the bank. So let's now then skip ahead to game week 31. This is the way the team currently looks for game week 31. It looks really good. And when people, again, ask me why I'm not wildcarding in 31, when I show you the team, it's going to be very clear why I'm not wildcarding in 31, because that's the team there. Like, that's absolutely brilliant, right? I don't even need to make a transfer this week. I could potentially roll. And the reason I might want to roll is so that I've got a really nice team for game week 32, right? Because for 32, there are some slightly trickier fixtures. And with 32... because it's directly before I free hit and then directly before I wildcard. So remember, I'm free hit 33, wildcard 34 is my current plan. I can basically take 1 week punts for game week 33, for 32. And especially if it is a double game week 32, that could be class. So the team would look something like this, right? Great fixtures all around. I've got the triple Tottenham against Newcastle. Newcastle haven't been terrible lately, but that's still good. Triple Arsenal against Crystal Palace, and then triple Liverpool against Watford. So I do have triple Spurs, triple Arsenal, triple Liverpool, but they all look really good. And then my other players are just Rafinha against Southampton and Hwang against Aston Villa. I could potentially just play Saiss against Aston Villa in there, or I could potentially play Gordon in as well. So the team for 31 essentially looks really nice. If I then skip to 32, the team doesn't look as good, but I do still have quite a few good sort of matchups in there. So let me get in some of the players that I would potentially want in. Remember, in game week 32, we're predicting that Everton might potentially have a double game week. Right? So if Everton do have a double game week here, I'd play Gordon, and then I'd probably take a 1 week punt on Calvert-Lewin. So game week 32, we're saying that Everton-Burnley might go in. So Burnley might have a double game week, and Everton might have a double game week. So at this stage, I might potentially do something like... Oh, sorry, I'd have Trent in there, wouldn't I? I might potentially do something like... I might take out Van Dijk for... Again, this is if Everton double, of course, right? I wouldn't do this otherwise. But I could bring in an Everton defender, or I could bring in someone else with a decent fixture, right? There are plenty of teams there. If Burnley do double in 22, I might end up wanting to bring in like a Burnley defender. I know we've made that mistake before, but it would be a double game week of Norwich and Everton. So it could look something like that. And then in for Jimenez or Hwang, I could end up bringing in Calvert-Lewin, right? This is, again, just hypothesizing that there might be a double game week in 32. It could also go into game week 31. So Everton could also have a double game week in game week 31. We're not sure whether it will be game week 31 or 32 at this stage. But if that is the case, the team would probably set up something like, it would probably be maybe for Kulusevski, maybe for Saka. Let's say Kulusevski for now. The team would look something like that. And Calvert-Lewin, Gordon and me would all have double game weeks at that stage, right? And that would be for only a -4 because, no, that would be for free, wouldn't it? Because I've got 2 free transfers, right? So this is maybe a little bit too far in the future and maybe a little bit too much hypothesizing. But you can see my team's really well set up for game week 30. This is the way the team will look. For 31, the team looks very, very good. And then even for 32, with a few sort of 1 week punts, I think the team looks fine as well, right? So I'm fairly happy with it, to be honest. I think we're good to go. I think the main thing you need to think about is how you're navigating game week 30 using transfers in game week 29. That's why Tottenham and Arsenal are so fantastic, because they not only double in game week 29, but they play in blank game week 30. So that's why I'm on triple Arsenal, triple Tottenham. And then outside of that, just make sure that you're starting to think about if you want to bring in Everton, Leicester and Burnley players, because Everton, Leicester and Burnley have the most fixtures to be rearranged. And as a result, you're going to want some players from Everton, Leicester and Burnley, I think, personally. So hopefully that planning ahead helped you guys. Should we have a look if sort of predicting the fixtures for this evening then? Where are they? Right. So these are the fixtures for this evening. What do we think? What are our predictions for the games this evening then? Let's see how wrong we are. I'm off to collect my little one. Thanks for the stream, Ross. Good luck for tonight, everyone. Good luck, mate. Drive safe or walk safe, whatever you're doing. Thanks for tuning into the stream. Right, so starting off with Norwich-Chelsea. Let me know in the chat what are your predictions for Norwich versus Chelsea. I'm going to go, before I look at the chat, Norwich versus Chelsea, I'm going to go for 2-0 Chelsea. Let me know in the chat what you think for Norwich versus Chelsea predictions. So I'll type mine in the chat as well so that you've got them there. If you're watching the stream back, you can see how wrong I was. Right, so that's my prediction for Norwich versus Chelsea. I do think Chelsea will still keep the clean sheet. Their defence still looks very good. I still think they'll score a couple of goals. They might potentially score 3 or 4. But I don't think it's going to be an easy game to score sort of tons of goals. Norwich haven't been great recently, but they're not the terrible defence that they once were. So what we see in the chat, 4-1, 2-0, 2-0, 3-1, 3-0. No one's predicting a Norwich win. I'm not surprised there particularly. No one's predicting a draw either. I do think that'll be a comfortable result for Chelsea. I'm not going to discuss the incident going on with Chelsea at the moment because this is going to become a political stream otherwise. But Sevilla scored. Ooh. So Sevilla have just scored against West Ham. 7-0 and Mount a hat-trick. You're thinking about the game early on in the season, I think, aren't you, in game week 9? That brings terrible flashbacks. That actually gave me a bit of anxiety, that did. Tech says 1-0 Norwich because Tuchel didn't play Rudiger. Love that. Right. What about Southampton versus Newcastle then? Again, I'm not going to look at the chat. What do I think for Southampton-Newcastle? I think that's got draw written all over it. I think there could be a few goals in that. It's either 1-1 or 2-2. I'm going to go 1-1 because I don't want there to be a lot of goals. Right. So we'll go 1-1 for Newcastle-Southampton. Well, let me know what you think in the chat for Southampton versus Newcastle. By the way, if you're enjoying this live stream, we're doing some slightly different stuff in today's stream. Do please drop a like on the stream and also subscribe to the channel. Do massively appreciate it. 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 2-2, 1-1, 1-1. A lot of people predicting draws. 3-3, that would be a nightmare for me because I don't own anyone in that Southampton-Newcastle game. 2-1, 2-3, Adams brace. So it's sort of a mixed bag. That's like really split 3 ways between draw, Southampton win and Newcastle win. Yeah, Jed says 2-2. Richard says 1-1. Marcelo says 1-1. Natasha says 2-0 to Southampton. Interesting. So clean sheet for Carl Walker-Peters, etc. 3-1 with a Willock hat-trick. I think that's just what you want, Clouds, isn't it? Based on what you said in the past live stream as well. Andre says 2-1. Yeah, to be honest, Andre, I think if I had to back a team to win, I would say I'd probably back Southampton. But Newcastle have looked pretty good recently. Super Duper says one of the better streams in a long time. Thank you. Thank you for becoming a member, my man. And thank you for appreciating the stream. Dubravka assist. We've seen stranger things, to be honest, haven't we? We've seen stranger things for sure. Sorry, my OCD looking at this is just, it's just horrific to look at. I can't deal with it, to be honest. There you go. I mean, that's not much better, but I was just looking at that and it was just absolutely killing me. Right, so I think we're predicting basically likely to be a draw, possibly could be a Southampton win. Right, outside of that, so right, we've got Wolves versus Watford. Now I need to think, what do I actually think will happen versus what do I want to happen? Do you know what? I'm gonna go for what I think will happen, and it's not what I want to happen, and it's going to be the same score as Southampton versus Newcastle. Right, so I think it's going to be 1-1 again. I don't think either of these teams keep clean sheet. To be fair, it should have 0-0 written all over it, but neither of the teams can defend. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's 1-1. Andre says, very late to this, but thought I would come and support and drop a like. Thank you very much, Andre. Drop me a message, by the way. I haven't spoken to you in a while, Andre. Andre was the very first member of the channel, if you're wondering who Andre is. I massively appreciate the continued support, because you've been as a member for like 6 months almost now. So, yeah, just drop me a message and let me know you're all right, my man. Cool, some real mixed bags here. 3-0 Watford, 2-0 Wolves, 2-0 Wolves, 1-0 Wolves, 4-3 Wolves. I don't mind that if Sice, Cody and Jimenez score. 2-0 Wolves. 2-0 is a very popular result for Wolves. I wouldn't mind that. I'd get a clean sheet from Cody and Sice, and I might get a return from Jimenez. 2-0 with Sice and Cody goals. You are speaking my language there. Remember till the walls fall off. I appreciate that, my man. Thank you very much. Right. Final game then. So I think the sort of average prediction here is 2-0 Wolves. We don't back Watford to do much, apart from Max, who said a king brace. I would not be happy with that. Leeds Palace. Right. Leeds Palace. What do I think for Leeds Palace? I don't think either will keep a clean sheet. I think Villa will have too much. I'm going to go Leeds 1, Villa 3. Nah, Jesse Marsh is tight. I'm going to go 2-1 to Villa. I'm going to go Leeds 1, Villa 2. What we saying in the chat? 2-2, 2-1. 2-2, 2-1, 4-2 to Aston Villa, 3-1 to Aston Villa, 2-1, 3-2 to Villa. Cool, people are predicting a lot of goals. I wouldn't mind a lot of goals. As someone that owns Coutinho and captained Rafinha, I really wouldn't mind a lot of goals in that game. I don't think there'll be a ton, though. Just Gerrard has tightened Villa up a little bit, and I think Jesse Marsh's general mission at the moment is to tighten up Leeds a little bit as well. So I still expect there to be at least sort of maybe 3 or 4 goals, but I do personally think that there'll be a few goals, but not that many. Especially if you captain Coutinho or Rafinha, you're hoping there's going to be a lot of goals, right? Chef says Leeds versus Palace. What about Leeds versus Palace? Did I say Leeds versus Palace? Leeds aren't playing Palace. Leeds Villa. I meant to say Villa. Yeah. So most people are predicting quite a few goals. Andre said 1-0 to Aston Villa. I hope not. Would not be happy with that. Cool. Nice. Right then. I think we are going to be done for today then. Hour and a half stream. If you have just tuned into the stream, please make sure you drop a like, make sure you subscribe. But because this is obviously way before the deadline, if you missed the start of the stream and you joined at the end and you enjoyed the end of the stream, you could just watch this back as a video. It will be live on my channel very soon. It just basically has to process. Once it's processed, it goes onto my channel. You can watch it as a video later on. You can watch it tomorrow night whenever you want to. Do make sure you watch it back if you did miss any of the stream. I appreciate the support as always. If you do want to become a member of the channel, please make sure you do become a member of the channel. Last thing actually before we end the stream, don't leave yet. I just want to show you the Discord channel before I forget, because that's very important to do. So if you enjoy sort of chatting FPL with like-minded people, and you can basically join our Raptor Discord channels. We've got 700 people currently on the Discord channel. Let me just invite you guys to the channel. Not that one. I want to invite you to that one. Invite people, copy link, right? What we've basically got is we've got a massive Discord community where we've got loads of different channels. We've got different FPL channels, different miscellaneous channels as well. So you've got an FPL chat where you can just chat FPL. Look how many, there's been 55 messages since I've last opened it. Loads of people chatting FPL. There's a Rate My Team channel. So if you want personalized feedback on your team, you can do so on the Rate My Team part. So people are giving their team. You can see there's different feedback for that. We've got a captaincy channel. We've got a team news channel. So people are posting different stuff about the team news, injuries as well. So apparently Ben Mee's injured. Missed that, all right? Stats bot as well, so you can type in things such as deadline. So if you want to know when the deadline is, you can see the deadlines in 1 day, 15 hours, etc. We've got FPL polls, right? So different FPL polls. So I've run a poll there. Who's everyone captaining? We've had previous ones about chip strategy. This is the members chat, so I'll quickly flash it up. It is a private channel. We've got the members chat, and we've also got a Raptors tier 1 Rate My Team as well. So if you want more personalized feedback, if you become a member, clicking the join button, you can get personalized feedback from a small group in here. So these are all the members here, and they're highlighted on the right as well. And then we've got miscellaneous stuff. So we've got like football, UCL fantasy, F1 chat, FIFA 22, general gaming, food, fitness, where I post some of my runs in there. So I ran a 25-minute 5K run the other day, which was super cool. Music sharing, memes, face reveals, charity giving, book club. There's also a football Wordle game, so you can play football Wordle if you want. That's just like a bot on our channel. So basically, there's loads of different stuff to do. I will now put the link in the chat, right? So for those of you that are still here, please join the Discord channel. It's completely free to do. All you have to do is click on that link, create a Discord account, completely free, and you basically can just chat FPL with all of us. I'm in the Discord constantly as well. Loads of people in there. You can see there are people who join in now. So these people have just joined. Love to see you. Right, please carry on joining. You'll come in. Once you join, make sure to introduce yourself as well. Say who you are, say where you're from. We'll give you a bit of an introduction. Make sure you do join the Discord, though. It'll be massively appreciated. We're trying to hit 1,000 members by the end of the season. Would be super cool. And then we'll continue to build it next season as well. All right. So I think I'm pretty much done then, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you more than you possibly know, whether you're someone that just watches, comments, likes, if you're a member, if you have been active in the chat, whatever your role is, it brings me joy, and I can't appreciate you enough. We're building something quite big on this channel. I'm so excited for the future, and hopefully see some of you in the future for future content, whether it be live streams, team selection videos, game week preview videos. Like I said, on the way out, please do drop a like. It's completely free for you to do. It takes like 2 seconds, but it supports content creators so very much. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And best of luck for Game Week 29. So I'm not deadline streaming. This has replaced the deadline stream. So best of luck for Game Week 29. I wish you all the best. I hope you get a massive green arrow, and then we'll be back for blank Game Week 30, where I'll build some kind of free hit draft for those of you that are on your free hit. And we'll talk about how to navigate Game Week 30 and beyond, and how many players you basically need for Game Week 30. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Massively appreciate it. Best of luck for the rest of Game Week 28. Best of luck for Game Week 29. See you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.